record in the matter of State of Utah versus Terence Vos. Mr. Vos remains on the stand and under oath. Ms. Vos.
Good afternoon. So you actually were at Nibley earlier in the night, correct? Before you went out to Johnny's, is that right?
It's 10 o'clock.
Excuse me?
It's 10 o'clock.
So earlier you testified that you had not been to Nibley at all that night, but you were there because Shannon actually picked you up at 9:55, correct?
Shannon picked me up at 9:55 because I was there.
Okay, so you had been at that house, that residence before?
Yes.
That night?
Yes.
You were staying there?
Occasionally. Between
there and your mom's house?
Sometimes.
Okay. You indicated that you talked about your injuries. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 177. Just a still from that body cam. Not that. Sorry. Just a still from his body. Can you see it on your screen?
I don't see anything that's black.
I forgot to plug the computer into the thing. Every time. That's a picture. Do you recognize the person? That's you, right?
That is me.
That's from the night of the incident?
That is from the night of the tragedy.
Okay. And that's the clothes you were wearing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And that's when you were talking to Sergeant Attridge, is that right?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know who I'm talking to right here.
But do you know that it's when you're on I-80?
It appears to be, yeah.
Because by the time we see you again...
Well, yeah, because that's the only time I interact with him, so it has to be I-80.
Okay, just let me ask my questions and then you can answer them, okay? The next time we see you on body cam, you're not actually wearing the black shirt anymore. Is that right? When you're not on I-80, you're not wearing the black shirt. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. There's no injuries to your left hand in that photograph, correct?
Can't tell. It looks like my hands are covered in blood, just like the rest of me.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about I-80. When you indicated that you first encountered a guy, a civilian, which we know was Stephen. He came up and knocked on your window.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
And you actually told Stephen that you had been shot yourself.
Yeah, I just assumed it because there's a lot of shots going off and there's a gun in my face, so I assumed that I probably was shot.
But you have told him that you were shot in your side, right?
I thought that I was.
Okay. And you told him that you were shot at 27th and State.
That is not true.
Okay. You didn't tell Stephen that?
I did not tell Stephen that.
So if we can hear it on the 911 call, that's not what you said?
That's not what I said, because that's not where we were shot.
Okay.
And if I did say that, it was because I don't know, I was distraught.
Okay. At some point, you don't try to put Shandon in the truck, but you actually try to take Stephen's truck. You could hear that on the 911 call, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what my brain was doing.
So eventually, after Stephen, some officers started arriving. The first trooper we saw testify, it was a female. And then eventually you start interacting with Trooper Attridge, correct? The male trooper that testified earlier in this case.
Yes.
Your interaction with Trooper Attridge is on the other side of the lane of travel, correct?
No, it was in the middle of the freeway.
Okay.
Up against the wall, I think that's what the wall was.
Right, so sort of on the opposite side of that westbound traffic lane.
No. No, we were in the westbound traffic lane.
By the barrier in between the west and the eastbound, correct?
That's where their car was parked, so yeah.
That's the barrier that you jumped over.
It is.
Okay. To then get to the other side, the eastbound, to then jump further.
Yep, I believe my blood is on the on the median from jumping from my hands.
At that point, you testified earlier today that you still think that Shandon's alive.
I think I was just trying to, or just trying to convince myself.
Okay.
I don't know, I didn't want to lose hope. What do you do? Your best friend's laying there and covered in blood.
Sir, I'm just going to ask you to answer my questions, okay? You testified earlier today that you thought she was still alive, right?
I hoped that she was.
Okay. Because in fact, you had told detectives earlier, when you eventually were interviewed by them, that you were talking to her on the way. She was saying that she was hot. She was talking to you while you were driving.
I did say that. I was talking to her.
So, at that point, you said that you testified the reason you ran is because you were going to retaliate. That's what you testified to, yes or no? Did you testify to that earlier today?
Yeah,
You had no gun with you
not at the time.
because you had thrown at least the gun that had shot Shandon.
I don't know. I don't think I did throw the gun. I can't recall that, so
Okay.
you're not going to put words in my mouth.
What about your .380? Where was that?
I don't know where it was. It must have fell out somewhere.
You didn't tell detectives that you threw that at 7th and State?
Maybe I did. I don't recall, but it fell out somewhere.
You had told the detectives that you had the gun that shot Shandon last. You were the last person to have possession of it, correct? Because you took it out of the shooter's hand, or it fell, depending on who you were telling.
I wasn't the last person to touch it because a civilian touched it, and then so did officers.
When Shandon was shot, were you the last person to touch that weapon on I-80?
I don't know. I don't remember throwing it. I don't know.
Okay. But you agree that the gun that ends up in 4 or 5 pieces is the same gun that shot Shandon, correct?
I don't recognize the gun. I know that that's what the ballistic report says, but I don't recognize that gun. It ain't mine. I've never seen it.
You know it had Shandon's blood on it.
Well, I would assume blood is everywhere from both of us.
Let's talk a little bit about guns. Are you familiar with guns?
No.
You're not?
No.
Okay. When you actually talk to the police, you give a very detailed description of the Nighthawk that you think one of the individuals is holding, correct?
I did say that.
Because that's actually a gun you really like.
I did say that.
Okay. You had a .380
Yeah.
of your own.
A bodyguard.
Okay. You had potentially a 9mm.
No, I did not.
Okay. Are you aware that when you grab the slide of a gun, it can no longer fire?
That's not true because it fired in my hand.
Fired 17 times while you were holding the top of it?
It sure as hell didn't seem like 17 times, but it did fire.
Because you didn't actually know it was 17 times, right?
I don't think I was able to count or pay attention. It didn't seem like it was that long, so I think there was 2 shooters.
Okay. So now there's 2 shooters.
No, there always has been 2 shooters.
2 people that actually shot their guns?
Yeah.
You told the detectives that?
I don't know.
Did
I
you
don't
actually?
remember.
You don't remember? Okay.
I don't remember all of the interviews with the detectives, really. It was just because I was distraught and
Okay.
out of it.
In fact, you actually specifically told the detectives, 2 detectives. 2 people came up to the car, 1 shot. Do you remember that?
I remember the one shooting because that was in my face, but just because I didn't see the other person shoot, that silhouette was still there.
Okay. In fact, you said to the detective, 2 people came up to the car, 1 person shot. The other person had a Nighthawk. It had the ridges in the barrel. It was chrome.
It was
I don't
chrome.
know why they didn't shoot it, but they didn't shoot it.
I just remember seeing it pointed down.
Okay. So today, maybe there were 2 shooters.
There was 2 shooters.
Okay.
Can you count bullets?
Can you please stop winking at me, sir?
I'm not winking, I have a twitch. Weirdo. I do have a twitch.
You need to just respond to the questions that are being asked, please.
You indicated you didn't know it was 17 shots, right?
There's no way I could have known.
Right. Because actually, when you talked to the detectives, which you failed to mention today, When you talked to the detectives, you were insistent that you had taken the gun and fired back at the people that were running away. Do you remember telling them that?
I do remember telling them that.
That you were sure that you had hit the back of the vehicle.
I thought that I did.
But you know that gun that shot Shandon 17 times holds 17 bullets, correct? You were here for that testimony.
Right, and they found 3 live rounds in it.
Actually, sir, do you remember the testimony that the 3 live rounds were outside of the magazine? Do you remember that testimony?
I do not.
Okay, so is it your testimony that you reloaded the weapon and fired
No.
a couple more rounds?
No.
Okay. So eventually, you jump the barrier when Officer Attridge is trying to get information from you.
I gave him my name, birthday, same as hers, and any medical conditions that they were asking for the ambulance.
That's what you gave on the 911 call, correct?
That is what I did.
Okay, when you spoke to the trooper on the side of the in the middle of the highway, you wouldn't tell him any information, correct?
I wouldn't tell him who did it.
Okay. Not only would you not tell him, you then actually just ran away.
Yeah.
Eventually, they catch up with you, and they stop you and arrest you at 28th, at the church parking lot in South Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's where they tased me. Yes, ma'am.
And that's when you interact mostly with Officer Munoz.
Honestly, I don't remember who I was interacting with, even when you brought him up on the stand. I don't recognize him. I just don't, and I'm not gonna lie about it and make it up. I don't remember that.
Let me see if I can refresh your memory. When you're interacting with Officer Munoz in the church parking lot in South Salt Lake, you tell Officer Munoz, similar to what you told Stephen, that you were shot in the area of 28th and State, right next to the Harley-Davidson shop. Do you remember telling Officer Munoz that?
I don't, but
Okay.
I will believe his body cam.
Okay.
If I said it, I said it.
And in fact, you told Officer Munoz that they pulled up behind you, they were chasing you, and you told Shandon to drive.
That's not true. I didn't tell him that.
Okay, you didn't tell them that they pulled up behind you and that they were chasing you?
I did not.
Okay. At first, Munoz was asking you who did it, and you wouldn't tell him, right?
Yeah,
You said, I'm not telling you.
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay. Eventually, though, you do say it was King and his bitch.
I did say that, but what I was referring to is because I remember seeing him, and his face was just in my head, but it really had nothing to do with that. My brain was just so blended from everything that was taking place.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't him.
Who's King?
I don't know.
So you don't know who King is?
I don't know what his real name is.
Okay.
ma'am.
They clarify it was King and his bitch, and by bitch you meant girlfriend. They clarify that with you.
Yeah.
And when they're trying to further clarify who King is, you actually say that he has dreads.
I don't recall that, but if I did, I did.
Okay. Further interviews, you tell detectives that you're not going to say the name, but you're going to tell them what it was about, right? Why someone came up and shot you.
I believe so.
And in fact, you tell them that it had to do with KO, which is Darnell Brown, right?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. That in fact, now you testified today that they came up and before they shot, they yelled, "Fuck KO."
Simultaneously.
Simultaneously, okay. When you talked to the detectives at Unified, you actually told them that they shot first and then they said, "Fuck KO." Do you remember telling them that?
No, I don't.
Okay. KO is Darnell, that's your friend, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. He was killed by Patrick Brown, correct?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know who killed him.
Okay. But you knew enough that the reason you were going to go retaliate your testimony today and testimony that in statement that you gave to the detectives is that part of the reason you think you were being shot at because they were afraid that you were going to go and shoot someone first on behalf of KO. Correct?
Makes sense.
Okay. So this was a retaliatory shooting, preemptive retaliatory shooting on behalf of KO.
I believe that they tried to use his name to cover it up because it was actually over something different. I think that was a smokescreen, saying
Okay.
his name.
Never have told anyone else about something different. Did you ever tell the detectives about anything different? You never did?
No.
Okay. In fact, you told both South Salt Lake and Unified Police Department that it was in regards to a preemptive retaliatory strike on behalf of KO.
Probably.
Okay.
Well, I said it could be.
Okay?
I believe that I said it could be because I was, just trying to, like, rack my brain and figure it out because it just kind of didn't make sense to me.
When you're at South Salt Lake, we sort of talked about this earlier in the examination, that when you're at South Salt Lake, you actually tell the detective that you're able to wrestle the gun away from the shooter, correct?
I believe so. I don't really remember that much of the South Salt Lake interview.
Okay. But when you get to Unified Police, you actually say that Shandon was able to put the vehicle in drive, which caused the gun to then fall.
Huh. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I did say I don't remember saying that.
Okay. You
That might
describe,
explain the tire marks.
okay, you describe where the individual was standing when he shot, correct?
I did.
And he was standing, and you actually, I think, demonstrated the same thing you demonstrated in the interview, that he was standing and he put the gun just right off to the right of your face, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that you sort of grabbed onto him and you were pulling him back towards the window, sort of back and forth towards the window. Is that right?
Just all throughout the front part of the car, just, tussling over a gun, just regular.
That you actually tell the detectives that it was just right at your face that they actually blew the cigarette out of your mouth.
That did happen.
Okay?
That did happen.
You told the detectives, well, actually, you said today that you could vaguely see the person's face. But when you talked to the detectives, you told them that both individuals were wearing full masks,
Yeah.
that all you could see was their eyes, right?
I could see their eyes, and sometimes you know people's eyes.
Okay? So you couldn't actually see anyone's face, just their eyes.
That's true, yes, ma'am.
You tell the detectives that the person who did this had left a note on your door, right?
I don't recall that.
Okay. They, in fact, you actually told them you had a picture of the note on your phone.
I don't recall that, did I?
If you don't recall it, that's fine.
You downloaded my phone.
I'm asking you if you
I don't recall that.
told the detectives that you had a picture of it on your phone.
I really don't remember that.
Okay. Do you remember the detectives asking you for the PIN to your phone? Show us the note, give us the PIN to your phone. And you said, no thanks, I just don't want to do that.
Probably. Yeah, I probably did say that. It makes sense. I have a right to privacy, I believe.
They're investigating the murder of Shandon at that point, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you wanted someone to find out who shot her, correct?
No.
You didn't want anyone to find out who shot her?
I didn't want him to find out. I wanted to retaliate.
Eventually, you do mention the name Damian Carter.
Again, that's something I don't recall, and I've seen it in reports, but I just don't remember it.
You don't remember telling the detectives that Damian Carter is the one that shot you?
I don't remember that, and even when I watch the videos, I don't recall it.
Okay. So, and today, you know who it was, but you won't tell anyone.
If I did say that, I don't know why they didn't investigate it. If I did say that, it was an accident.
My question to you, sir, is, you said today that you know who it is, but you won't tell anyone. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I did say that.
Okay. You get on the phone with Jen the next day. You tell Jen that she was stabbing you and that you shot her.
Did you say that?
And you give details. You say, we just started. It was like we started fighting. I don't even remember what it was about, but then she started stabbing me, and I shot her. That's what you tell Jen, right?
I did say that.
Okay.
And my mother.
You actually don't tell your mom. You don't specifically say that you shot her, but prior to that, when Jen's on the phone, you actually say, I wish I would have just let her stab me. I'm all stabbed up pretty good. I have stab wounds all over. My face is all fucked, my hands and arms. I got stab wounds all through them.
I did say that.
You have no stab wounds, correct?
I did not have any stab wounds.
Okay.
All of the marks on me were from other things.
Okay. You also say might have been, you don't know what was going on with Shandon that night. Could have been, I don't know if she did too much cocaine or ecstasy or something. We just reacted like that with each other.
Yeah, I did say that.
But in fact, you told the detectives that you had actually taken the ecstasy much earlier in the day.
We took it several times throughout the night.
Okay, so you didn't tell the detectives that you took it earlier in the day?
Well, I do take it in the day and then take it at night, so.
You asked Jen to call your mom. You're able to provide her phone number.
Yeah,
When you can't get your mom, you actually are able to provide London's number, because you're going to have Jen call London.
yeah.
Then your mom gets on the phone. You not only tell her that you have stab wounds, but you specifically tell her that they're defensive wounds.
I actually don't remember that part. I haven't listened to that call all the way through.
Okay?
But
You didn't listen to it when we played it in court?
you guys stopped it before I got to that point.
Okay.
Cherry picked it.
You also tell your mom that you were fighting, but you didn't remember what it was over, and then she actually told you to stop talking.
Yeah, I remember that from the reports.
Okay. When you're in South Salt Lake, you're actually able to tell the detectives, you, I think, actually use the word trajectory, that they could probably find a bullet in the door, they can probably find a bullet in the seat. Is that right?
I don't know if I did. I believe that I did because I remember Satara he was a good cop and he was approaching the situation with humanity.
Okay,
Unlike
so
UPD.
my question is, you were able to tell them the exact trajectory of where they're probably going to be able to find bullets?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I was there. I got
You're
shot. We
able
got
to,
shot.
you're able to tell UPD that Shannon was probably shot in the stomach, she was also probably shot in the lung.
In the lung? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because of her voice.
Okay.
Yeah. Her
Going
voice.
back to, so you tell detectives at UPD something, you tell detectives at South Salt Lake something, you tell Officer Munoz something, Mr. Pugh something, and then you get on the phone with your mom, that same phone call, and you say to her, I had made some whole other shit up. But they were looking. It's all over me. The evidence is all over me. Is that what you said to your mom?
No.
No further questions.
Thank you.
Further, Mr. Batista?
Terence, you previously said numerous times you don't remember things.
Yeah, I just from the whole incident, just being intoxicated, just the trauma, head trauma, everything. It was just weird. It was just like in and out.
Dealing with shock.
Yeah, it was shock.
Do you remember, word for word, your interview with the detectives?
I don't remember it word for word, but I remember that I do recall Rigby telling me that she asked me if I killed Shannon because Shannon was responsible for my daughter's death, and she knows that's not
Objection.
true.
Objection. May we approach?
Yes.
Terence, what I was asking you is,
Wait, can we get a ruling on that?
Or why don't you make a motion?
Your Honor, the state would move to strike the testimony that Mr. Vos just gave.
Sustained.
asking you, there's a lot of things that you may or may not said to the police that you don't remember. Is that correct?
Yes, that is true.
And that's because, as you said, the trauma and the shock of what was going on?
Yes, that is true.
When you told them someone else shot her, was that true?
That is true. That is the truth.
You were asked questions about if you remember telling Detective Munoz things when you were on the ground after being tased, with laying on your back with your hands handcuffed behind your back. Do you remember everything you said to him?
I don't remember everything, but I remember I told him that they had shot us.
So, things that you may or may not said, you're not sure because of the shock?
I'm not sure. And some of the things that, like, even on video, I don't really remember them firsthand. I don't know.
You indicated that when you were being interviewed by the police, you were distraught. That's what you said, remember that? Did they give you a break?
No.
Do you have any idea how long you were being interviewed by police officers?
I don't. It seemed like almost a full day.
Do you remember whether they were challenging your answers?
Yes, they were.
So they were interrogating you?
Yes, they were. I remember invoking my fifth and asking for a lawyer. And
It's okay. Let me ask you this. You were asked if you remember getting into the Good Samaritan's truck after we heard on the 911, you were getting in the truck and you were trying to trick his truck.
yeah, that's what on the 911. Yeah, and that's what he said.
And you were asked that you didn't put Shannon in the car when you were trying to take the truck. Do you remember what you were trying to do?
I think I was trying to pull the truck up to the side or something and put her in there or something. I really don't know. I honestly don't know what. The mission was obviously still to try to help her, but I don't know how that factored into my decision making or whatever. Like, again, I was just I was lost. I didn't know what to do.
Panicking.
I was lost. I didn't know what to do.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.
Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, it's about 10 of 2. We're going to take a recess for about 10 minutes probably, so govern yourselves appropriately. Don't discuss anything related to the case of the parties. Do no independent research and keep an open mind. And we'll see you back here about 2 o'clock probably, unless we have further issues. Thank you.
All rise for adjournment.